Hello, Vicky here. How's everybody going? Good thing I was looking at the screen. I turned the volume down on my iPad and I didn't hear the bit. Never mind, I do go on. How are you all? I hope everybody's well. We've had a couple of days that's reminded us that we live in a really hot place. So it's been a bizarre spring. But look out, summer, here I come. Anyway, enough of the weather. I'm darling, I'm working on a page in Hope, and I've decided that I would like to do a page with this collage on it. So here I am industriously stamping on some images, which are going to get covered up because it didn't occur to me to check where I was going to put the pages before I put the stamps. But hey, the thought was there. And a little bit of it might show through, you never know. So like I said, we're going to do a collage page. I don't tend to do a lot of collages this way, or I don't really make works of art with collage. My collage tends to be very late at night. It gives me great solace if I'm in pain or if I can't sleep. I just get little bits of ridiculously sized paper and glue it onto other paper, which is usually clean copy paper that's been printed on. Rather than shredding it, I'll use it to put a collage on. But on that, I've gotten an old set of outdated encyclopedias that Graham, bless him, saved from just before they're going into the recycle bin. He saved every volume. So you can imagine how many pages I have. But the thing is they're thin pages. And like I said, because I use little scraps, by the time I'm finished doing a collage, it can be quite thick. And then if I cut them up for cards and I back them with a little bit of cardstock, you're starting to get some pretty hefty tags, which I don't really mind, but then you have to be a little bit conscious of what sort of pocket you're putting them into. The pocket needs to be sturdy enough to take the weight. So anyway, I have come to the decision that this will be my first piece, I think. Now, for your sanity, I have skipped around, deleted, and haven't added in all the think time and quite frankly the prattle that went on making this video. For your own sanity and my reputation, I made the executive decision to edit it a little bit more than what it was, because it's very hard. I find it very hard to edit a movie when I'm talking, because I'm always talking. And if you edit a bit out and then you start it up again, well, 1 minute you're talking about oranges and the next time you're talking about apples or watermelons, and nobody knows what you're saying. So all that to say, the dogs aren't to blame for this being a voiceover. I actually am to blame for this being a voiceover. So there you have it, an honest decision. Now this piece of paper that I'm using here, that is so yummy. It is so soft, and it is so age-stained. I hope nobody that doesn't do journaling never listens to us go on about it, but it is amazing paper. So I thought, you know what, I think I might use that, because the book page that I was going to use is one of the Russian text, but it's very dark, and I wasn't happy with how dark it was. Maybe a bit of contrast wouldn't have hurt, but I just didn't like it. So I just decided that we wouldn't have it, and I've gone for this motley little beauty here. It's one of the facing pages, one of the first pages that you have when you open a book. Like, I've decided that I've got a authentic front page library book that I'm going to use as a pocket inside the cover, where it's got the stamps and the actual pocket that went with that library book, but unfortunately I didn't get the little index card with it, but we'll be able to sort something out there. Now these are these little pet stickers that are really popular, and I like them. I really do. I bought a metre of it. I bought a couple of them, and I bought them by the metre. So I've got to cut them off so I can get them off. I do have trouble with them. Now, I've never really been a sticker kind of girl, but there are so many beautiful stickers there that are this acetate or PET. I'm thinking might be a form of acetate. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I don't know what PET actually stands for. But when you haven't got the light shining right down on it, you don't see all that shiny sticker. But when you're just flicking through a book, or you've got it sitting up a little bit that you're reading, you don't see that shiny. So that kind of is the bit I like about them. The thing I like the least is the way it's presenting there. And having said all that, I'm now using, this is actually a cutlery, like a catering cutlery holder, that you get your cutlery in it, and you get a serviette poked down in there with it too. Now I do have quite a few of them at the moment, and I rather like the shape of it, and it's strong, it's sturdy, and I was thinking that I was just going to leave it as it is and maybe just put a little stamp or something on it. But as we go on, you'll see that I change my mind. So I'm just inking it all up now. And I'm going to be looking for a little bit of paper that we can cover it up with, because like I said, I decided that it was just too much of a contrast, whereas this page is a lighter page, even though it would draw your eyes to it because it's darker. It's also going to be a floral page, so we don't really need to use the darkness of it to draw someone's eye to it. So now what I'm going to do is it's got a little bit of shaping on it, so I'll get that just there. That's what I like. I think about this stage I realise that I better glue up the bottom of it, since I'd like it as a pocket, but I've just got to add that little bit extra ink on there. I must admit I'm a bit of a demon with that ink pad. So there I've got that sitting there. Do I like it? Yeah, I do. I do like the way this page is coming together. I don't know what all the rest of you are doing, but I had a grand day today. The pool, I've been complaining to you all about the pool being so cold. Well, it was a really, really hot day today. And of course I'm up and down at the moment. This resting business is really, really frustrating. And I did some ironing, and there wasn't a real lot. There was only about an hour, and I was hot and I was a bit achy. I thought I would just lay down on the bed for half an hour, which is what I've been doing. And I'm hot and I'm wet, and Louis comes in and he sits on me. So I felt like my temperature went up another 20 degrees. It's probably only 2, but 20 sounds better, doesn't it? So I just thought, right, I've had enough of that pool being too cold for me. So off I went. I went out. I stood on the side of it, and I dived in. And I thought, right, fuss about getting into the pool this time, girl. Straight in I went. And I was so glad I did. Didn't stop it from being cold, but my goodness, it felt good. And it's pretty close to the temperature that I do like it now. So we'll see how we go. The guy that did the shade cloth said that it will stop the water from getting as hot because it's such a thick shade cloth. So that'll be interesting, which is good, because then I won't feel like a lobster in the middle of the swim season because the water's so hot. But it could be bad for Graham. It might mean that it'll never get warm enough for him to get in. I don't think he got in the pool once last year. He does all the maintenance for it. He sorts everything out for it. He enjoys doing it. He just loves having it good for me because he knows how much it helps me. So I think that's very sweet of him. So I've glued this little pocket that you see there, the little cutlery holder pocket, down. I decided not to turn it into a back pocket for another tag. One, the page is already busy enough, but two, journaling is foremost in my head. So there will be lots of journaling space throughout. So we won't lose too much journaling space by doing it this way. So now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do here. That's what I've done. So I'm like I said, once I've got the little recording box in the way, I've just shaped that piece of paper and got it organised because as you can see from the top of there's a triangle shape at the top of it. So I just needed to get the cut right so that piece of paper would sit on it and just have a very narrow edge on it, just so that amount of brown coming through gives us the contrast that I was looking for. But now, because there's only just a little bit of it, it works. To my eye, it works. So me and my glue stick, never the best friends. I can make a mess with glue stick. I'll take any toddler on. Any toddler and Miss Pip. Miss Pip used to be able to do a pretty good job with the glue too. And more than once she used to jump down off the table with something sticking onto her. I'd have to go running after to get it off her. Her tail flicking because she could feel something. Yeah, those were the days. Now these little, they're not really stickers. I don't know what to call them. Little adverts, little reproduction adverts. They really are quite nice. I like them. I think I got some of them in the Paper Inspirations monthly mystery box. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to try and ignore the fact that I just yawned, but I thought you might hear me. Usual thing, sitting down to do a voiceover, and of course I'm yawning. Please don't take it personally. And anyway, where are we up to? We're getting that put down there now. I was wondering I'm trying to think what I was going on about in the first video that I don't know, something sticks in my memory and then reminds me of something, or there's a story behind it, and off I go. Graham and I have had a bit of a diverse life. We were never the family that bought a house when we got married and lived in it until we moved into a nursing home. I'm quite sure if that's who we had have been, we would have been fine with it and we would have done the very best that we could do with it. But it wasn't the way our life went. And we have had some extraordinary adventures. We've had a couple of pretty dangerous ones too. But most of all, we're here now together. So I'll be sitting here and I'll be thinking of something, and it'll just take me back. I've got Louis at the end of the bed here. He's just laying there like the king, living bed doll, sprawled out on it. I mean, he's right smack in the middle of it. He's in Graham's way. If Graham wants to put his feet down there, he's angled back up because it takes a fair bit to take up the space where my feet go because I'm not that tall. I am sitting up on my bed and Graham's out in the workshop. It's just I'm done for the day, and it's a bit cooler up here, so I don't know what time it is. I think it's just 8:30 and I'm ready for bed. That's after being on the bed a couple of times today, just having a rest. Getting old, girls, that's the problem. So I've got some more little imitation paperwork looking stuff that's been reduced down and then mass produced on copy paper. And because I want it for another little pocket, I'm putting it onto some, well, actually what this one's going onto is a bit of manila folder. Because I find that if I make pockets out of just lightweight paper, I tear them. Now, it might be fine. I'm not saying everybody does that. You do you, what works best for you. I support whatever you do. But for me, I find it better just to back the copy paper weight, just to give it that little bit of extra strength. Now, I don't know 100% what I was going to do with this pocket, but I thought we'd put another one of these little flowers on it, and I got it off the same roll as what I got the big one off because they match, and I thought I quite liked that. And I guess I got a little bit worried that I was starting to overcook this page. I do tend to go with the adage that less is more, but there is a fair bit happening on this page already. So by the time we put that pocket down, I think it's just about done. And all we need to do is just add a little bit of something in the pockets that isn't too overbearing. And I'm not 100% sure that I actually did that, but we won't jump ahead of ourselves. So we're just going to put that pocket down. I'm still here, I'm just watching what I'm doing. I don't think my mind's gone a blank. Gosh, it's a good thing you got that down, isn't it? You won't hear that very often. So what I've decided to do instead of tag, well, I was going to do no tags on this page, but watch your space. I thought I'd like to do something a little bit different on this page rather than a tag, because there will be more than enough tags scattered throughout this journal by the time I'm finished. So I'm just showing you that I've cut it off so that what I've cut off is still a useful size to be able to be used. It's like, oh, aren't I clever? So I've just folded up a coffee dyed piece of paper. I've just concertinaed it in little folds. And I'm just going through, just taking the plainness off the piece of paper. So here's the stamping that I covered up from the beginning. So we did end up getting a little bit of stamping. So I'm just going through. It was really a little bit funny. I thought it was anyway, the way my brain works. I was going to stamp. Where is it? It's coming up in a minute. I'll tell you as it's going, so you'll know what on earth I was doing. Otherwise, it won't make sense to you at all. So you can see they've all got folds. So it's kind of like you fold it up. It's almost like a little half sign in a way. It just concertinas up. And I wanted to put this stamp down in this particular spot. But there was a fold there. And I'm looking around everywhere for something just so that I wouldn't stamp over the fold. And I think you're bonkers, Vic. And that serviette happens to be the one that come out of the knife and fork holder. It almost came in handy. Oh no, there it did. It did come in handy. That's how I clean my stamps. So now I've got some 49 and Market. Actually, this journal is going to feature 49 and Market quite a bit, I think, because I do use their rub-ons. I like their rub-ons. And I've got this washi tape, which is 49 and Market. So I'm just tearing random little bits off. And with this, it's not load-bearing, and like I said, it's 49 and Market. You don't need to add any glue to the back of it because it's pretty sticky, or tactile, if you want to put it that way. It gets a good grip, and I haven't had any trouble with it anyway. So I'm just going around randomly putting bits of ripped washi tape. It's just I like to do this with pages. 'Cause I think I say it every time, don't I? One of the biggest hurdles for a journaler to get over is opening up a blank page. You know, there's nothing to stop the flow of the brain like a blank page. So that if we put some things on there, like I've done a little bit of stamping, putting the washi on there, it's no longer a blank page, is it? It's already got stuff on there. So you don't have to worry about starting it because it's already been started. And it does actually work, believe it or not. Well, it does for me anyway. I look at a pristine page and that's the end of me. That's why I have notes on everything. And I put everything on, like, I have one little book and it's just a notebook. And it'll be interesting to see how many things I've crossed off when I get to the end of it, to what I'd written down and had to be done at the front of it. But this this little notebook I've got is so thick. It's probably going to take me to I reckon I'll be about 122 years of age by the time I get to the end of it. Don't think I'm going to be worried about what was on the front page. It's got mixed, do you? Oh, I think of some funny things like that. Now, this is where I was saying you need to be careful about a page getting overcooked. So what I've done is I've gone to another lot of these acetate stickers and I've put a potpourri rose on there. Now it's different shading and it's a different style. So I'm not completely sold on it. But I didn't worry about it because it's on that little flap and we can turn that little flap in and it can be a surprise then for when you open it to do it. So I guess that's why I've let that one slide. Now I was going to do a little folded journaling paper like this for that little tag up the back, but it is just too small. It's too small. So what I ended up deciding to do is just add a little bitty tag in there. So I had to get the big cutter out. This is the smallest piece of 49er market I've got at the moment. So I haven't used a real lot of it at the moment, but I haven't really started any sort of embellishments or adding on tags and all those sorts of things. So that's when that'll all come into play. So I've just used a little bit, and what I've done is I haven't worried about backing this one. It's sturdy enough as it is, and the colour of it on the back is light enough to be able to journal over. Oh, excuse me, please. I have a croaky voice. Oh, now here we go. I thought I'd used a 49er market rub-on. I'm just at a loss to think what it was. So I've just put a little bit of the green on there. It's just some green text inside, some smudgy green. And they are really beautiful. I love them. I didn't do it justice, did I? It really, really does look super. And I picked the green because I thought it was a good contrast. You know, we've got red flowers everywhere. If we have just a little standalone, we'll just have a little standalone green and just a little bit of relief in the colour. Well, I have no idea what just happened there. I just cut yours off. I thought that's it, not talking to you anymore. So I had to figure out what was going on. And then I'd scoot this way and then I'd scoot that way. And it was all quite a jumble. But anyway, here we are. We have found each other again. Now, what am I doing? Right, little whale tail. little whale tail tab to go on top of that itty bitty little tag to go into that pocket, and you can write a little bit of something about something special. Now, I knew that was off. I knew I was off centre, and it just like I couldn't take it off or I would have ripped it all. So what I did is I got the guillotine out and I just shaved a little bit off the side of it, and then my eyes were happy again. Try not to do that. Just things are fine if there's a half a centimetre, an eighth of an inch, a slither. It's not the end of the world, and I am trying to get better at that. But when it's off, it's off. What can you say? So now I don't know what I'm doing here. I must be admiring my work. No, I've gone to the next bookmark, and here we go. As you remember, I put a marker in the front and the back, because if I don't do something in the back when I do something in the front, I'm going to have a journal that's full by the time we get to the centre. And it does happen, okay? Just telling you from a friend, it does happen. Now, this little photo frame, it's commercially made, and it comes with a little string line and pegs with it. Looking at the pegs, the only thing I've been able to come up with yet is it'd be a good way to hold a tag or a journaling card in, but it might be a bit thick, I'm not sure. Out to lunch on the whole peg thing at the moment. So now what I'm doing is I'm going crazy. I'm doing all the inking now. So make as big a mess as you want to before you start, because you're not going to do this without making a bit of a mess, particularly on the inside. So I've decided to turn this into a photo frame as such. I've got this beautiful image here. I have no idea where it come from, I'm sorry. And it's got a label, what the rose is, up the top, and it fits down into this photo pocket really well, but it just cuts off the writing, the name of the rose, because of the top bar of the frame. So I took a little bit off the bottom of it and got it to sit in there just the way I wanted it to. So I'm just pointing out that you can see its name. And it's really a very, very pretty image. And now I'm going to cut the acetate, which is easier said than done because it's very hard to see the acetate. So I basically just mark it off the way we mark everything else off, just so that I can get a sizing. Now this acetate that I'm using is a little bit thicker than the one I normally use. I thought because it's a pretty big area, and it's quite sturdy, the frame. So I thought, well, since I've got the thicker acetate here, I may as well be using it. So now you see I've cut the acetate and I'm putting it down into the pocket. Now, because it's all sitting down in there, I don't think there's any need to turn ourselves inside out and backwards to glue that on all sides. If you can hear that, and if the video is jumping, Louis, don't scratch at your neck, mate. Yeah, because it's a solid piece of ephemera, I felt that the thicker acetate would sit better, and I do believe. And that was the other thing, because of the way these are made and the weight that's in this ephemera piece and in the acetate, there's really no need to glue any more than across the top of what you're putting in there. So whatever you're putting in and out of there is not going to foul. It's not going to get caught between the two of them or whatever. They're fixtures there now. And every time you open up the pocket to get your whether it be a tag, your journaling paper, whatever, it's never going to be a bother now. That's why you just do it across the tops. And like, if it's not flimsy, like that acetate and that card will just sit there just by their very weight. So what I thought I'd do is just because I'm going to put in some journaling paper in here too. Like I said to you, Hope is a journal for journaling, and by adding sheets of paper like this, I'm adding more journal space without really giving too much thickness. Sorry. Now I know in the last blurb I waxed on lyrically about this darkroom door stamp. I have had it, and you can see that all of them haven't been used. And I don't know why it took me so long to realise that this is just an awesome stamp set. Darkroom Door, very high quality stamps anyway, so it's no different with these ones. They stamp out beautifully, and if they don't, I find with me it's user error. It's not the stamp. I just haven't inked it properly, or I've moved it when I shouldn't have. I find success with it every time I do it properly, I guess is a good way to put it. I don't know if that sounds ridiculous or not, but... And then that's how I clean my stamps. Somebody told me not to use soap and water on them because the soap will dry out the stamp, and the nappy wipes that I use have got some form of detergent. I don't know what's in nappy wipes, but I very rarely use nappy wipes on the stamps either. I usually just stamp them off onto a little bit of whatever's laying around. So I'm just putting a little ink pot down with this. I really like it. And one of my binders, my ephemera binders, features this stamp set in it. So if you really like it, you can pop over and check out the video on them, and they will be for sale, the ring binders. I'm on to number 12, peoples, but don't get too excited yet. I have to go through and put at least probably one piece of ephemera in each pocket, just as a gift to get everybody going, because there's 100 pockets, so you're not getting half a dozen things. Now, I tell you, this cracked me up. This cracks me up, this one, this sticker. Look at the bottom of it. It looks like something you'd find on the forest floor as King Arthur and Guinevere go for a walk. It looks like something that you would want to eat you. I wouldn't mind betting if you wanted to make up a bad magic potion, I'm pretty sure some of the root of that would be what you reckon it would be. Now looking at it, it looks like a spider. It represents a clump of root, I guess, but it kind of missed the mark. At least the flower's pretty. So all that to say, move on, put it in the bin, move on, there you are, no problem anymore. It did. It really does look freaky. And there's more than one of them in there, so I'm pretty sure you're going to hear that every time I take one of those stamps out. Looks like something my Mr. Flick, my pest man, comes and sprays for cockroaches. I hate having to get the house sprayed, but once again, living where we live, cockroaches are a part of life, and it really honestly doesn't matter how clean you are. It's just the climate. And we get the surface spray, but they say they're pretty good these days. Once upon a time, every living thing in the house had to ship out for the rest of the day, and then when you come home, you had to wipe down all the surfaces. And when it got to that, I just thought, no, you know what, we're going to have to battle with whatever's coming at us. We can't be laying those sorts of poisons down, because it's not just our place. the hose runs or there's a shower of rain, all those chemicals that they sprayed around my house, it's going to go down the drain. And where does that go? It goes into our waterways. So, but now they spray and we don't have to worry about leaving. So, yeah, I still reckon that if I had have left that on the floor, I think it would have curled up the way a spider does. I'm a bit crazy. Oh, speaking of crazy, poor old Graham's just come to the door to figure out whether or not I'd actually gone bonkers or if I was doing a voiceover. I think he's going either way on what it is. I think he's a bit suspicious. So anyway, getting back to what I'm being silly now. This is just another piece of folded coffee paper that I've put a little bit on each page, and that can be like a little secret journaling page in there, because these journals love to be shown off. So if you have this journal and you want to show somebody but you think, oh no, I've written something that I didn't want anybody else to read, well, what you do is you tuck it in down behind this pocket. Nobody will ever know it's there, because once we get it down and when we're going through filling it up with the ephemera, well, the ephemera that's not stuck down, I'll be putting, I've lost my train of thought there. I'll be putting tags in there when we're finished, when we're going through adding journaling cards, tags, whatever we're going to do. This at the moment's mainly about getting some things fixed in there. Then we'll go back through again. So it's during this phase that you need to be a little bit conscious of how much you're putting down as a permanent fixture, because you have to remember that, like for this one alone, there'll probably be 2 tags to go in there. So that's 2 more layers of thickness. And while I love a thick journal and I like a sturdy journal, we have to be mindful that it just doesn't become a huge journal. So I've just cut a little bit off the top of that one, just so that it'll go down a little bit further, because it's not a secret if people are going to be able to see it. And at the top, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a thumb hole. So there's a thumb hole on front and back. That way you'll know that there is a tag inside and the back. And that was hard work for that little hole, that little punch there. I was quite proud of it. It's been on its last legs for ages, but it just keeps going. Just keeps going. So just getting that tucked down in there, making sure that nobody else can see it. And so the front of it, what I was going to do is I was going to cover I was going to put paper on all 4 of those sides, and I've decided that actually I like the craft look, but the frame itself just looked like, it's the second last page in the book, and it just ran out of energy, couldn't be bothered doing anything with it. So what I've decided to do is, so I'm going to take my trusty stamp out that I'm not going to hide this time. You'll actually be able to hear it. You could, if you can hear that, you probably can. That's Graham in the kitchen making a cup of coffee. So I don't know how you can drink coffee when it's so hot, but they say if you drink tea, it opens your pores up and you sweat or perspire, whichever word you prefer. It's actually the perspiration that opens our pores and it helps to cool us down. I'm not 100% sure of that, but and having a hot drink starts that process. So I can't tell you if that's true or not, but I think my mum might have said that at one stage. I don't know. I don't drink tea and coffee anymore. Now, like I said, I'm just adding the stamps all around this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tear some little strips of paper, and I'm just going to glue it around it. So I've decided on a pink. Oh no, I also decided I was going to put the imitation gold leaf down. So I'm just putting down some of the glue, and then hopefully I remember where I put it. So by the time I finish gluing some paper down, this will have dried just a little bit. It does work best if you let it just go off for a little while. I'm of the impatient type sometimes, and I put it down as soon as I put the gold leafing down as soon as I put the glue down, and it is messier and it is harder to control it. So I thought, well, if I do it now, I'll go around and put my little collage of just stripped paper, just to break it up a bit. Probably would have been enough for me just with the gold and with the stamping. And I don't know, I guess I just decided that this is what I'd like. So this is what it is. And if I come up to this as we're going through finishing it off and I don't like it, well, I can put something over the top of it. But as it turns out, for the moment, I think it looks really good. And I had a piece of just pink laying around, and I thought maybe that would look really good because of the soft pink that's in the centre image. And so this is probably collage. I think it's more like gluing. It's just collage in its simplest form. And I'm not quite sure it reaches the lofty heights of collage. Takes a while to build a journal. Takes a while just to get everything in there. It's a labour of love. It's a labour that gives such joy. I really enjoyed it. I believe I've said it just about every time, probably 10 times every video. I really do enjoy doing it. There's a sense of achievement that comes with it. And I haven't got myself in too much of a mess, really, when you look at it. And I do have little bits. That's why I keep those little bits hanging around on the table rather than putting them into the bin straight away, so that if I need something like this, I've got some bits there to do. Now, I would like to say that those small ones, for the most part, just go straight in the bin after I've had a session of crafting. I'm just not quite sure. Yeah, there's a couple of things there that will definitely go in the bin. I'm not completely devoid of all common sense. But all the bits and pieces, see, they just... Oh, I did. I scraped them up and I put them in the bin. Look at me go. And now we'll have a chuckle at watching me put this gold leaf on. I've got one pair of tweezers that are semi-good, and the other pair of tweezers are useless. And I think it would be a lot easier if I had a couple of pairs of tweezers. So it looks like I've cut you out from having too much of a chuckle. Or have I? No, there's a little bit there. I think the only thing I can say about this is I did get some gold leafing on the page. Is it the way I would have liked it to have gone on? Not really. But you know, if you get it on your hand, it sticks to your hand and almost dissolves. If you try and cut it with your scissors, it sticks to the scissors. And yeah, I mean, it's a tale of woe. But I get it on there. But then when I get it on, and this is the ridiculous thing, is I try to get it on there perfect and I get upset when it's not. But when I go to rub it back, I don't actually really want a perfect adherence anyway. If it's a little bit lumpy and a little bit uneven, that's actually what I prefer. But yet I persist in driving myself crazy to get it on in one little sheet, to have no folds in it. Oh, I don't know. And then I just proceed to rub it and, make it look a bit old. So I don't know why I stress over in the first place. I really, really don't. But I do love this. I love this stuff very much. It's yeah. It's a little bit of an effort because it's hard. It's a bit hard for me to do, but I think it's well worth it. There are a lot of things more tedious and harder to do than the gold leafing. So this is me just going around now, rubbing it all off when I know I should wait. But I was pleased with the end result. You see, I haven't done the two top ones. You can see that the one down the side looks considerably thinner. So I just can't help myself. I really just, and I do not have that on my own. We all of us just keep fiddling and fiddling as if you just leave it alone and walk off. There's going to be no problems at all, is there? But no, a little dab here, a little fiddle there. I tell you what, you don't have to be crazy. So you don't have to be crazy, I'll teach you. Speaking of teaching, I heard the funniest thing the other night. It's on one of my friends live, and one of the ladies is learning how to sew. And she's like, the pattern's designed for experienced beginners. I'll let you ponder that one because it sounds like an oxymoron to me. Now, I know now that I'm up to here, I have to leave my conversation on experienced beginners because I'm gluing around this 3 sides and it's going to be put onto there. So I don't run out of time and I have to speed talk. I would just like to say to everybody, thank you very much for joining me. Your support is absolutely brilliant and I thank you very much for it. I hope you liked what you saw today. If you like what you saw, you could catch up with me. I'm not the fastest crafter in the world, but seriously, thank you. And I will leave you with the same words. Be kind to you and be kind to the person that's standing next to you. And until next time, bye for now. I'm still going. Still bye. I didn't check very well, did I? It's still going. Oh, forget about all that business about bye for now. Oh, that's funny. I'm still going. Yeah, come back. Come back. I forgot. Got to put a little sticker on it yet. And we've got to pick out what page we're going to work on next time. So if I run out of time, instead of me having to speed talk to say goodbye, just refer back to 5 minutes ago. What do? You just got to laugh at yourself, don't you? See, if you just as well that you weren't quick to turn that button off, look at everything you would have missed out on. A bit travesty, wouldn't it? Oh no, I thought I was going to put a piece of paper down there. a not a piece of paper, a sticker, but it's just another piece of paper. I must have decided the balance was all wrong or something. No, no, what are we doing? I don't think any of us have got much of a clue at the moment, do we? So I can't see my hands. Apple, if you're listening, you've got the recording box right in the middle of the screen. I need to be able to see what I'm doing. Oh, I'm still putting bits of paper around. Oh, I was in a hurry to go, wasn't I? Perhaps I could go back and just edit that bit out and have a bit of silence. No, where's the fun in that? We might as well laugh about it. Still going. I'll be gone in a minute. Or maybe two. Okay, I'm cleaning my desk at the moment. It's just the sort of like the breaststroke. You take your arms up in front of you and then you slide them out. And then that drags everything that's on your desk out of the way. I'm working very intently at the moment, and I do hope that you're paying attention. Oh, it's another sticker. Oh, it's a rose up there. Oh my goodness, I did really fluff the ending of this one, didn't I? I'm still at that gold leaf, trying to make it look a little bit worn. Oh yeah, that little rose up the side of that does look pretty. But it's very busy for me, so I don't know whether or not I'm growing in a good way, or perhaps I needed to grow back a little bit. Grow backwards, I'm sure it's possible. There we go, that little sticker was just hanging over. So that's our pocket for the day. That's me about done for today. I do believe this time we are getting close. I think what we're going to do is just pick what we're going to work on next time. And I'll be gone in a minute. I just don't know when that minute is. A minute of mine could be 10 minutes to you. So I'm just telling you that we've still got lots of room in that journal. A lot of growing. So next time we're going to work on this bag and its flap. So it's sewn in, so obviously it's got a little bit of the bag towards the back, which is the flap. So they're the 2 pages we will work on next week. So just starting to do a little bit of decorating, just getting the feel to sort of like plump it up a little bit so we know where we are with what we want to do. Because at this stage, you and I, none of us, I don't think, have got any clue or grasp on the video. I said about 10 minutes ago, I said goodbye. So I'll say bye-bye now.